Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Military Mondays. For those of you who do not know who I am retired Major Brenda Sanchez, and I am the co-author of the best-selling book, Life's Real Currency, with my husband, Michael Sanchez. And every single Monday morning at 8 a.m. Mountain Time, I bring you Military Mondays. I have a passion for helping military members and getting the word out about veteran business owners and letting the civilian community know what kind of value we bring to the marketplace. And today I have the honor of having Ryan Malnar, say that 3 times fast, I'd probably stumble, with me. I met Ryan out networking. We're in the same BNI chapter. And for those of you who don't know what BNI means, Business Networking International. And we meet on a weekly basis, and we have a large contingent of military in that group that are business owners. And so I wanted to bring him on today. He is the managing, how do you say that?
Managing attorney.
Managing attorney at Malnar Law. And I just want him to give you a little bit of his background. He's still in the Air Force as a reservist. So with that, can you share with the audience your background? Obviously, you're now a reservist, but I know you served, and what you did in the service or are currently doing in the service.
Yeah, absolutely. So that covers a lot of information. So I'm currently a reservist at Peterson Air Force Base. It's my second base in the Air Force Reserves. I was 6 years active duty, and I went into the Air Force, more as an opportunity than anything. I wanted to serve, but there's also when you're getting out of law school, depending on what kind of career track you want to go, there's different paths, obviously, that you could take. But I was looking for something where I was going to get experience trying cases. I wanted to get myself in the courtroom, and the Air Force was a great opportunity for that. It's actually, you think about joining the military and you think, oh, the military is trying to just get bodies. They want to bring everybody in. But the reality is as an attorney, they only accept about 6 or 7% of applicants.
Wow, I didn't know that.
And so it's very competitive. And part of the reason is because it creates such a good foundation for trial work, because you get in your primary duty as an attorney in the Air Force is trying cases. And so I was fortunate enough to get in, and I started out as a low-level prosecutor, so to speak, but the Air Force kind of just throws you in there. And I tried my first felony level case within my first year of being in the Air Force.
Wow.
And so, it created a great foundation for me moving forward, because I got all that trial experience, made me comfortable in the courtroom. Coming out of active duty, I tried about 30 cases in the courtroom. And that's the kind of experience that is difficult to get. Some attorneys are getting, within their first 5 or 10 years, they're trying 5 to 10 cases in the civil world. And so it's a huge difference, and it was a great foundation for me to be able to springboard to my next step.
Which was?
Well, so I got out of the Air Force in 2014, and I'd always wanted to start my own firm. Coming out of the Air Force, obviously, I had no idea how I was going to do that. And so it was challenging. I was looking for a job, and I knew I wanted to do my own thing. I'm a very kind of independent person. I've started businesses before while I was in college, and so I decided to go and shadow. And so I went out and shadowed some of my friends that were attorneys, and that actually led to a job offer. And it was a good opportunity because, I hadn't been in the civil world. So all the small details, I had no idea how I was going to do all those things. I had to figure it out. And so it was a great opportunity for me to be able to learn that from someone else. And so I did that, knowing, even in accepting that job, I was very upfront with them. I said, I'm going to start my own firm. This is going to be a temporary thing. And they were okay with that. And so it was a really good fit, to start coming out of the military. So.
And did they have any kind of a military background, or how did you were just out interviewing, or how did you meet them?
So I actually met them through my church, but I don't know. I always network with a lot of attorneys. So I knew a lot of attorneys even while I was on active duty, because I go out and would network and get to know people. And so it wasn't, I'd never submitted my resume. It wasn't like there was an interview. It was just basically, conversation. And
so what you're telling me, and what we're telling the audience, is it's not about putting in a job application. It's about networking and who you know. You don't get a job from a resume, and generally from an interview. It's about who do you know, and connecting with and networking. And I believe that in the service, that's one thing we learn. We're kind of forced to learn in a way, because we move every few years. So you're forced to get to meet new people and become a networker, especially when you have kids like you have.
Yeah.
And as a military spouse, we're going to focus on the spouse for a minute here. They're picking up and they are having to start all over again and take their kids to a new school and learn the mom network. And so not only as a military, as a serving military person, but even the spouses, that's a huge skill that we learn, I think. So thanks for bringing that up, because I didn't even know that. So
when I was leaving military service, I was sending out resumes. I was applying to a lot of different jobs, and I was really focused on that, because when you transition out of the military, that's what they teach you. Like, you need to get out and send out all these resumes and find all these jobs, and there's all these resources to find jobs. But I think a lot of times we neglect the whole networking thing, and that's probably the most important way to get a job. Is the people the people you meet, and they get an idea and a feel for you and the way you are, and that's what's I think the most effective way to find a good job.
Yep. What other skills, other than obviously being able to be in the courtroom and getting way more trial experience, but what other skills do you feel like you learned in the service that make you a successful business owner today?
So the same thing that got me the job, which was networking, I think is what makes me successful with the things that I'm doing now. Because well, even as a prosecutor in the military, I learned the networking thing in the military. As a prosecutor in the military, one of the big things is we've got to get out and meet all the commanders and get to know them and create kind of a relationship of trust with those commanders, so we can advise them when they have a criminal case and help them to make, wise decisions as they prosecute these cases. And so that was very important. It was emphasized to us, we need to go to the commander call. We need to go to this social event because the commanders are going to be there. We need to get to know them, and they need to get to know us so they can trust our counsel. It's the same thing when you transition out of the military, getting into these networking groups, getting to know people, and making sure they can, that they know you, and they can trust you, that you're an honest person, and that you're going to give them good advice and take care of their people, because it's really about those relationships of trust.
So today you are the managing attorney of Malnar Law, and it's a personal injury attorney firm. So if you're hurt in a car, call Malnar. See, I know his commercial. But so with that trial experience, how many other personal injury attorneys really have that type of experience to feel comfortable going to trial with the cases? And I know you're very comfortable, and you talk about that all the time, is that, we're not just going to settle. I'm here. I can defend you in court. We can do this.
Right. So The biggest thing in personal injury is leverage. You've got to have leverage against the insurance companies in order to get the settlement. And that's what a law firm provides. It provides leverage, right? Now, how much it provides is going to be important to you as you go forward with your personal injury case, because um, if there's an attorney that's unwilling to go to trial or they're worried about going to trial, the opposing side is going to catch on to that. And it's going to make a difference in the amount that you're going to get in your settlement. And so the reality is that most civil cases aren't going to go to trial. But the posture of your attorney when he's negotiating the cases is going to make a huge difference in how the other side is reacting. Because you've got to have a posture that we're going to trial. And that's how I approach every single case from the beginning. It's not just getting the settlement. Some of my clients are very clear they don't want to file a lawsuit, and that is absolutely fine. But my posture is we're preparing for trial from the day you walk into my office. And so, there's countless examples of how that makes a huge difference in your case. I actually, this week, we're posturing for trial. I've taken that stance clearly with the other side that I'm very pessimistic that this case is going to settle. I've got to do these things to get ready for trial, and I start applying pressure to the other side. We just had, let's see, we had a case that the offer at mediation, and mediation is usually where cases settle. We had an offer that was increased by 125%. Wow. Actually, last week, in my conversations with opposing counsel, I'm like, I'm taking this to trial. And we've already, had this increase of 125%. Before that, the offer on the case was zero.
Wow.
And so, it makes a huge difference. And so, I or any plaintiff's attorney in the personal injury realm is not going to try that many cases because of the posture of the insurance company. But having that leverage to apply the right pressure makes a huge difference in getting, that much more on your settlement.
Awesome. So in closing, if somebody is looking into the service to be a lawyer or just a service member in general is looking to get out, what kind of advice would you give them?
Okay, so two very different things. So if you're looking to get into the service, one of the things that is probably the most important is your interview. It's about people. It's about making sure that you're responsible and you're gonna take care of things, and you're well-rounded. Actually, a lot of when you're applying to most legal jobs, a lot of law firms, they're looking at where were you at in your legal class, your law school class, and how high are you in that percentage? Are you serving on law review? The Air Force is looking for somebody that's much more well-rounded. So having some life experience besides just being in school is going to be very important. And if you really want to, solidify that opportunity, doing like an internship with the Air Force would be huge. And then for people getting out of the military, I would say, you still got to get your resume and all that kind of stuff ready so that you can send it off. But the big thing is getting out in the community and networking. And you just by my path, you can see that. I got out, I was networking, and then I just asked, hey, can I shadow you? And I was providing free legal work to this law firm, and then it not immediately, but it turned into a great opportunity for me, although it was temporary. It gave me a great springboard to start my own firm.
So go shadow. And that's what we say. There's a couple of veteran networking groups that I'm involved in here in Colorado Springs. Those are great places to go meet people, learn about different industries, because maybe what you did in the service isn't really what you're passionate about. Let's find out what you're passionate about and find somebody to be a mentor for you you can shadow and learn about that industry before you jump into it and find out that, oh, that wasn't what I wanted to do. So
And I would just say, I mean, don't be afraid to get your feet wet. I mean, I think a lot of civilians that maybe don't have experience with the military are going to look at the military and go, oh, well, they do military stuff that's completely different than anything that I do in my business. And they're not going to, it's going to be a turnoff that you're in the military. But if you go out, I mean, what difference does a couple months of volunteering at a business going to make if it turns into the right job or the right career for you to work with them? And so, don't be afraid to get your feet wet and get out there and let them get to know you. So, that's the best way, I think, to open doors and opportunities after the military.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Ryan, for being on Military Mondays today. And I do interviews maybe not every single Monday morning, but I look to interview veteran business owners on Monday mornings. So if you are a veteran business owner or you are the spouse of a military member serving or a veteran that has their own business, I would love to have a conversation with you. Just private message me and we'll have a call or a Zoom and see if you're a good fit for Military Mondays. And if you'd like to learn more about Military Mondays, past shows, and upcoming shows, I would love to connect with you at militarymondays.info. So Military Mondays with an S.info. If you go put your information in, we can stay connected and I can keep you up to date on what's going on my Monday, Military Mondays. Anyways, have a fabulous week, everyone. Stay safe, and we will see you next Monday on Military Mondays. Bye, everyone.
See you later.